Welcome everybody to episode 13 of the Gazelle. Unlucky for some, but not for us today. Delighted to be joined by BobTrafford, the commercial manager here at Macclesfield. So Bob, thank you for joining us today.
No problem, mate.
Can you start by giving us a bit about your background at the club?
Well, I first came here when I was 7 years of age with my granddad. Obviously, there have been so many highs and lows since then. Around about 2015, 16, I suffered a little bit of a mental health episode. I went watching Sunderland for 2 or 3 years, to be honest, so don't ask why. Do not ask why. But they were good times, you know, obviously a different situation. And then I came back here and set up a fans website, almost like an all or nothing. I'd always been involved with the club as more than the fans. I was on like the Sports Trust board, different things. I set up a website called Star Lane End. And I couldn't have timed any better because that season, the old Macclesfield town got promoted to the Football League. Yeah. So it was a very good time in a way, even though you wouldn't have known it. And then at the end of that season, I got a job here at the old Macclesfield town as media manager. Did a few years, and then, you know, we all know that Macclesfield town, 16th September 2020, I'll always remember that date. And then a few weeks later, Robbie took over, and they kind of like came back a few weeks later in media. And then I think it was about 2 or 3 years later, swapped over to commercial, and here we are.
So how did that feel? I mean, a fantastic journey going from the outside of the club to being on the inside. That must have been fantastic, right?
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult, and sometimes it's not. So you wake up every morning and you think, do you know what? I'm going into work at, you know, my childhood football club. And so many memories there. People who are still with us, people who aren't. So you're invested like big time. Which 99% of the time is absolutely brilliant. You have to pinch yourself. You're coming in here every day.
Easier when you don't care though, right?
This is the thing. You can never take that fan hat off. Do you know what I mean? So there is a balance, and sometimes, you know, do you care a little bit too much? Yeah. But it's getting that balance. But listen, I won't change it for the world.
Fantastic. Now, Gazelle, of course, a new sponsor of the club. How important is it for businesses like ours to be involved?
Massively, on a number of different levels. And I think Gazelle is a great case study in terms of why we want to attract people to the club and how we do. For the reason that I remember the first conversation I had with Gary, and Gary said to me, listen, I've had a look at other football clubs and this, that and the other, but we want something a little bit unique, a little bit special. And I genuinely I still believe that we are that club, due to the fact that how many people, not just in this country, but in the world, you know, have lost their football club, and we did. You know, don't get me wrong, there's some who've come very close, but how many actually have? And I think that the journey we're on at the minute is almost like we want to right the wrongs of the past in some respects, and we want to take this club as high as we can. But obviously, you know, the unity we've got between the fan base, the staff, the players, everyone, I think it's made so much stronger because of where we've come from.
Yeah, now when we discussed it at our side, that's what really attracted us to Macclesfield, the journey, the vision, but also, I mean, like where we are here today. I mean, these facilities are fantastic.
They are, yeah. I mean, all this is down to Rob Smethurst. When he took over, you know, the ground was dilapidated. It was in desperate need of a bit of TLC. So to compare that to, like you say, what we've got now is just mind-blowing.
Yeah. So any other businesses kind of watching or listening to this podcast, can people still get involved?
Yeah, of course. And we like to see sponsors, not as sponsors, but as partners. Because, okay, we've got a commercial element to it, of course we have. But we've also got the fact that we need people behind us to help us on the journey we're on. So we need people emotionally investing in us too. And that's what attracted us to Gazelle as well, and so many of our other sponsors, because it's only through that support we're going to get where we need to be.
Yeah, and that vision was so important to us. And,
Yeah.
You've spoken about kind of vision and journey a couple of times. Can you tell us a bit more about the kind of path that the club's on?
Rob Smethurst on day one said that he wanted to take the club back to the Football League.
Yeah.
And that's is what it is. That's as simple or as complex as you make it, but that's the aim.
Yeah, and that was part of what attracted us to Macclesfield, that journey. We see ourselves as being on a journey, and was really kind of wanted to share that with you guys.
Yeah.
And be a part of it.
Yeah, so when I first started speaking to Gary, obviously, we're at the stage of our journey that we're at. And when he spoke to me about Gazelle, he's like, there's a lot of synergy between that. Yeah. And that's why I think it works so well.
Yeah. And if you can tell us a bit more about your role at the club, Bob, like kind of what does day to day look like for you?
Oh, no idea. I couldn't answer. It's different. So obviously, it's reaching out to sponsors, trying to get new sponsorships in. Yeah. But obviously, a big thing as well is, is looking after the sponsors we've got already, because that's imperative. We don't want to just have people having the board up and then not speak to them for 2 years, or do you know what I mean? So, they've invested in us and we want to invest in them back. So we move forward together. Yeah,
one thing that really impressed us was just that community feel. Yeah. Kind of getting involved with those other sponsors and just feeling a part of something kind of bigger than ourselves.
Exactly, yeah, and it all goes down. I know we've mentioned it a few times, but the journey we're on, because we're all in it together. Yeah. People know the history, but because of that history, we're almost using that to catalyse our way forward into the future. And that's not just fans or sponsors or players, and that's the beauty of, I think, what we've got now is everybody in it together.
I mean, how does that feel for you as well? Because you've mentioned the history, the past. There were some pretty dark days there. Yeah. How does it feel now when you reflect on where the club was at one point to where it is today?
Oh, it's difficult, because would I ever say that I'm glad that Macclesfield Town went? No. All the history, all the memories, but with what we're doing now, we're keeping their memories alive. Yeah. The saddest thing in the world would have been on the 16th September. That was it. Game over. And that could have happened. Yeah. It could have happened. But I think with what we're doing now, we're not only, giving ourselves a bright future, but we're also respecting that past as well. And that's another reason where you look at it and you say, do you know what? This is a different story to most. Yeah. And that's what attracts people.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. And you mentioned kind of bright future. One thing that really struck me today was a lot of young players. Yeah, around the club. I don't know if you've got the youth team here today, but I look out on the pitch and you do see, not just it's bright itself, but it does feel like a club with a bright future, and just a kind of youth element really brings a lot to it, I think.
Exactly. So we've had the first team. The first team are training there now. We've got the BTEC in, a few hundred kids on that. We've got a junior academy, like 500-600 kids. You can drive past this ground anytime you want, and I will bet you there's something going on there.
I was just about to say, every time we're here, there's lots going on.
Exactly, yeah, and that's what we want. We want to involve everybody, obviously with the first team, but also in their own lives as well. Whether it be having a kickabout on the pitch to celebrate something, or a business or a corporate match or whatever, or all the way up from 5-6 years old all the way up.
Yeah, and. Of course, you're here in Macclesfield. How important is that wider community and the wider town to you guys?
I think that one of the most important things, or the biggest thing I remember of when Macclesfield Town went, is just how much that affected the community. Yeah. And people will struggle to recognise that if you've not gone through it. Yeah. And it's almost now that we did lose our club, that now we've got it back in, and to such an extent that you got what you see before you. Yeah, that's another thing the community so grateful to have the club in the first place.
You see all this today. You drive through the town and just like the scenery and everything here, it feels impossible to look back and think there was a time when it wasn't here. Almost, it's such an integral part of the town.
It is. If I'm being honest, I think it always has been. Yeah. What fans, community can't necessarily influence is kind of like how it's run in terms of top level. Yeah. But I think that the community has always cared about this club. Yeah. And I think that was shown on 16th September 2020. And if there is a positive, it's what's happened here now. People are automatically invested. It's almost like we do, but we don't really have to go out to the community and beg them to come and watch us or, for the academy, because that willingness is already there.
Yeah, as you say, it's all intertwined.
Of course it is.
It's just an integral part.
Of course it is,
of the community. Now, this next question, Bob, I'm a bit wary to ask it. I've heard some of your stories before.
Oh, no, you haven't.
I know, but are there any fun stories that you're willing that we can air about your time at Macclesfield?
There's so many. Most I can't really say. But what I would say is that if there is one regret, it's like sometimes you're so intertwined within your work because you care so much. Sometimes you look back and you say, do you know what? I wish I'd enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
Because you almost move from one challenge to another. But don't get me wrong, there's been some amazing times here. In terms of funny stories, Robbie likes to wind up.
Okay.
And to be absolutely honest and give him his dues, he could take a joke as well.
Yeah.
So some of them, but will stay with me forever. That's maybe one for another day.
Yeah, I feel like they are going to stay with you a little bit longer there. But we've looked backwards quite a lot. If we can focus for a moment on the present, of course, we are now into the thick of the season. How are things going this year?
Yeah, good. John Rooney is manager now. I think it was important to get stability.
Yeah.
We've got that. Obviously, we've got to recognise we're in a high league.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be easy. I think the temptation with us winning the Northern Premier League so convincingly last year, you get used to winning every week.
Yeah.
And it's not like that when you move up through the leagues. But we're doing all right. Yeah. And yeah, let's just see what happens.
Well, as you say, every season, and we see this in business as well. You go through phases.
Yeah.
You grow, and there's always kind of growing pains along the way, but you have to adjust, adapt, and move on.
But I think that one thing everyone's got at this club is the support of everyone else. Do you know what I mean? It's almost kind of like we are that family club, we are that community club, and if one person's struggling or whatever, there's so many people to pick you back up, and that includes the manager and includes the team. So yeah, we're doing all right. We've still got ambitions, hopes of going up again this year.
Yeah.
Because we are Macclesfield, and I don't mean that in an arrogant way at all. I mean that in terms of, the amount of people we get believing in us, and that is so important. Because
you've got to have that confidence, right?
Of course you have, yeah. I mean, obviously it's got to be tempered a little bit, but we believe that we're on that upward trajectory, and like any football fan of any team, you don't want it to end, and you work day and night to make sure, or do your bit, so it doesn't end. So when we're all doing that, so we're just keeping our fingers crossed that we have another good season. Yeah,
and you've mentioned managers there a couple of times. Of course, you've gone from Robbie. You've now got John Rooney.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about John?
So John actually was a player here for Macclesfield Town. I think it was in the early 2000s, and obviously he had a really good career, Stockport, Barrow, what have you. And he came back a few years ago again as a player, and he was a player until last summer. Yeah. When Robbie left, John put himself forward. Obviously, the sad part in a way is that he felt that he needed to retire from playing to concentrate on management, which totally respect. But yeah, he's great to have around. He's the sort of person you can ring and say, mate, I've got a problem, and he'll help you out. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, he just gets on with everybody. He's the sort of person you kind of, when you speak to him, deep down you want him to do well. Not necessarily for the club. Obviously, it is for the club, but for him, because you can see what it means to him.
Well, of course, when somebody goes from being a player to a manager at the same club, you are part of that. It's not somebody kind of coming in new, taking over. You've you know that person, you respect that person, and
Yeah.
you've always got to respect somebody in an organisation, whether it be a football club or a business, whereby they take on a higher role,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden have to flick a bit of a switch. I'm not a player anymore. I'm in charge of the team. The added responsibility.
And in terms of the team itself, obviously John has gone from one of the lads to the boss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think the way he's transition's been brilliant.
Fantastic. And I suppose it helps when sometimes it's a natural progression. From what I've heard, it didn't really feel like sometimes people will start to take charge in a role to a certain extent. And then when they take that next step, it's not a big step. You're going from there to there rather than there to there. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I think, you show leadership qualities on the pitch, as of others, and think, why not?
Yeah, fantastic. Right, well, Bob, you've said it all.
Brilliant.
Thank you for joining us today on the Gazelle.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you.